All right, let's jump right in. Today we're looking at a story that completely exploded in 2025, one that hit people's wallets, major businesses, and even threatened the stability of the entire UK economy. We are, of course, talking about that unprecedented wave of cyber attacks.
In this quote from Mike Madison, the CEO of cybersecurity firm NCC Group, really nails it. This isn't just some story about hackers and dark rooms anymore. This is about a fundamental truth. Our digital world and our economic reality are now one and the same. What happens online has a direct, and I mean direct, impact on our economy.
And if you want to put a number on it, here it is, 1.9 billion pounds. Just think about that for a second. That's the estimated cost of a single cyber event on the UK economy this year. It's an absolutely staggering figure, and it shows you just how high the stakes have become.
So, here's the plan for our explainer. First, we're going to dig into why 2025 was such a critical tipping point. Then, we'll break down that billion-pound hack. From there, we'll see how your own personal data is getting caught in the crossfire, and we'll look at the main weapon these criminals are using. And finally, we'll peer into the future, at the next digital battlefield, and see how we're starting to fight back. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, first up, the cyber tipping point. So why 2025? Well, because this was the year that cyber attacks stopped being a background problem for the IT department and became a frontline threat, one that could disrupt the entire country.
And listen, this isn't just me saying it. When the governor of the Bank of England, the top financial authority in the country, calls something one of the most substantial threats to financial stability, you know it's serious. That's a massive economic alarm bell ringing.
And a quick look at the data, wow, it paints a pretty stark picture. At the start of the year, we saw this record-shattering surge in ransomware attacks. The numbers jumped from 590 in January to nearly 900 in February. That's not a gradual increase, that's an explosion.
But it wasn't just the sheer number of attacks, it was how serious they were. The UK's National Cybersecurity Centre had to handle 204 nationally significant incidents. To put that in perspective, the year before that number was just 89. So the scale of the most serious threats more than doubled in just 12 months.
So how does an abstract threat like that translate into actual real-world damage? Well, let's look at the single most costly cyber attack to ever hit the UK, the attack on Jaguar Land Rover.
This timeline just lays out the devastating domino effect. It all kicks off on September 1st when the hackers make their move. The immediate result? Production just grinds to a halt. All their UK factories shut down for 5 weeks. By the end of the quarter, the financial hit is just staggering, over £1 billion in lost revenue. And here's the crucial part. This wasn't just a problem for one company. It became a national problem, actually contributing to the entire UK economy shrinking that autumn.
But it wasn't just about corporate balance sheets. This next section is about something much more personal, your data. Because when huge retail giants like Marks & Spencer and the Co-op got hit, millions of ordinary people were suddenly at risk.
I mean, the attack on M&S was just a perfect storm of cascading failures. The company lost £324 million in sales because online orders were down for 6 weeks. But the disruption to their logistics was so bad that even their physical store shelves were sitting empty. And maybe the most alarming part for all of us, customer personal data was stolen.
And this is what makes it so personal. We're not talking about anonymous data here. We're talking about the keys to your identity. Your full name, your email, where you live, and your date of birth. All of it, now in the hands of criminals.
And the human scale of this, it's just immense. 6.5 million. That is the number of Co-op members who had their data stolen in a completely separate attack. It's a number so large, it's almost hard to wrap your head around.
So, we've seen the damage, but what is the actual weapon that's causing all this chaos? Well, in most of these cases, it's a type of attack called ransomware. And to really get the threat, you have to understand the tool.
So what is ransomware? Well, put simply, it's malicious software. Think of it like a digital virus that criminals use to either lock up all of your files and computer systems or just steal your data outright. And then they hold it hostage, demanding a ransom payment to give you back access or to promise they won't leak everything they stole.
And don't for a second think this is just a problem for the corporate giants. A staggering 59%. That's a clear majority of all small and medium-sized businesses in the UK were hit with a cyber attack this past year. This threat is absolutely everywhere.
Now, as bad as 2025 was, experts are warning us that it should be seen as a wake-up call, not a one-time thing. Because the threat is evolving and the next digital battlefield is already being set up, and it's going to be powered by artificial intelligence.
Cybersecurity expert Mike Madison has a pretty chilling prediction. Criminals are going to use AI to make their attacks way smarter, much faster, and a whole lot more effective. So think about phishing emails that are perfectly written and impossible to spot, or AI bots automatically scanning the internet 24/7 for weaknesses in our defenses.
So where will these new AI-powered attacks be aimed? Well, experts are pointing right at complex supply chains. Hitting just one single vulnerable link in a long chain, say a small parts supplier for a car factory, can cause this massive ripple effect of disruption. And that in turn puts enormous pressure on the victims to just pay the ransom to make it stop.
So after all that bad news, is there any good news? Well, yes. The sheer scale of the crisis in 2025 has forced a major and frankly long overdue shift in how both companies and the government are starting to fight back.
This right here illustrates the most important change of all. It's a shift in mindset. You see, in the past, cybersecurity was often just seen as an IT problem. Now, it's finally understood that cyber resilience, which is the ability to actually withstand and recover from an attack, is a top-level concern for the CEO and the entire board.
The government is also stepping up with some new rules. A new bill is coming that gives regulators the power to fine companies that aren't taking security seriously. It also forces businesses to tell the government if they pay a ransom, and it outright bans public sector organizations from ever paying them, which is a big move to try and cut off the criminals' cash flow.
Which, of course, brings us to our final big question. We've seen a year of unbelievable attacks, and we're seeing a new, more serious response taking shape. But with artificial intelligence set to supercharge the attacker's abilities, is our defense evolving fast enough to keep up? That is the challenge that lies ahead.